outside into the middle. And then the all-time interception leader of the Panthers, Chris Gamble, out with a shoulder injury. So Captain Munnerlyn from his backup spot steps in to start at the corner.
Yeah, and Captain started a lot of games, but where I think it stresses them, and Munnerlyn's got a lot of experience, but they're going to have to put Josh Thomas out there, who has not played a lot when they get into their three-corner package, trying to cover those three wide receivers.
Cam Newton is going to get the football first. The Seahawks won the coin toss and deferred. We're seeing more and more of that.
Well, I think Pete Carroll likes his matchup. His defense against Cam Newton in this offense go set the tone early, and I can't wait to watch Steve Smith out on the perimeter, Chris, against those two big corners. It's going to be a four-quarter brawl. Can't wait to see it. Now, Gary Williams gets the start for Jeff Hengartner, so you got a rookie left guard and you got a right guard who's only got 12 starts under his belt against a very good defensive line.
Ron Rivera, in his second year, forever linked with Cam Newton, and said it was a tough week emotionally Wednesday to try and dig the team out of that devastating loss at Atlanta when it looked like they had it won. Russell Wilson, drafted out of Wisconsin, but as we mentioned, 3 years at North Carolina State before a baseball career, something we'll explain throughout the game. But they're waiting for him to bust out of it.
They got a great defense. They got a great run game. Where's the consistency out of quarterback play? We're going to find out tonight.
Aloha Polaris is back. He does have a return for a touchdown in his career. And he's stopped inside the 14-yard line. The special teams play. Another high point for Pete Carroll and his team. Noted for defense, second ranked overall in the National Football League, and the pressure up front from those four is there every down.
Yeah, we know about Chris Clemens as a pass rusher. Brandon Mebane coming off a great game. Love the matchup against Ryan Khalil today, the center of the Carolina Panthers. Here's where they're really good, especially KJ Wright. You talk about a tackler. This guy gets his hands on you. You're not going to get away. Talked about the corners, very good at the safety position as well with Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor.
From the 13-yard line, D'Angelo Williams goes inside on a handoff. And for Cam Newton, 4 touchdown passes. He's run for 3 scores. Walked around with the football all week, protecting it, making sure after that fumble last week late that hurt their chances against the Falcons.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that hurt their chances against the Falcons last week. The fumble was the big one, but you pin them back on their own 1-yard line. Not much time left, no timeouts. They deserve to win that game.
On 2nd down 7 from just across the 15-yard line. For Steve Smith, who can't hang on. Now it'll be 3rd and 7.
And you just watch out on the outside how this matchup is going to go all day long with Steve Smith. And they're not in press coverage. It's off coverage with Brandon Browner. And that's where they can get those big corners, Chris. They get those guys to settle and stop their feet and then make their break and make those big bodies stop and start again. That's where Steve Smith will have an advantage.
From inside the 16 on 3rd and 7. Cam Newton almost intercepted. Cam Chancellor broke it up, but it'll be 4th down. You thought it was important that Cam and Steve Smith get something positive going early for the mindset coming off that loss last week.
You talked about how hard it was Wednesday's practice with the hangover, and even Ron Rivera, the head coach, told us that. So I really believe getting some short passing attack completions going early is going to be key. The big one was the drop by Steve Smith a couple of plays ago. That one had no chance.
3 and out. Leon Washington waving everybody away from Northland's punt. Just inside Seattle territory.
Ball kick out of bounds at about.
Russell Wilson, after the signing of Matt Flynn, still a shock, but he won the job. Now Flynn is healthy. His elbow is okay. And Russell, it's his team to run. 2 wins at home, 2 losses on the road.
Despite everything you've read and heard, I don't think there is a short leash on Russell Wilson. Marshawn Lynch leads the NFL in rushing. He's been the best in the NFL since last November, big time. And then the offensive line, an injury here or there, especially at right guard with Moffitt. Paul McQuiston will step in there today.
Actually, the punt only 29 yards, so already from the 45-yard line of Carolina, Russell Wilson, and open, drops it in there and completes to Sidney Rice.
Love to see Russell Wilson staying in the pocket, Chris, and throwing from the pocket, and watch him just feather this little out route to Sidney Rice right over the linebacker. I mean, just perfect loft on that football, just outside the hands of, actually looks like Thomas Davis got a hand on it. Sidney Rice still came down with
18-yard gain from the 27-yard line. Carolina. Russell Wilson to throw again. Here comes the pressure, and he gets rid of it wisely. Charles Johnson coming off a 3.5 sack game, keeping the pressure on the rookie quarterback.
Much better at the defensive tackle spot. Dewan Edwards in free agency, Ronnie Edwards healthy. They really feel like they have solidified that group up front with the defensive line. Excited to see Kuechly back at his natural spot. Now they'll miss Beeson, but middle linebacker is where Kuechly did all of his damage in college. The rookie Josh Norman has played pretty well out on the edge.
2nd and 10, Marshawn Lynch. And the Panthers, who have been run on. In fact, they're the worst tackling team statistically in the NFL this year. And Ron Rivera called it his team's nemesis. But they swarm in on Lynch.
And you're going to have to get a lot of bodies to Marshawn Lynch in this game. And Ron Rivera talked to us about that the other day. He said that's been our biggest Achilles heel. Tackling at the point of attack. Not really in the open field, but at the point of attack. We know Lynch breaks a lot of tackles. Big challenge.
A 3rd and 7 from the 24 of Carolina.
Got the tight end McCoy if they want him. Top of your screen.
Quick pass and open. Down to the 11-yard line. Russell Wilson connecting with Doug Baldwin, who is the 3rd down receiver they want to go to. He led the team last year in catches and yardage as an undrafted free agent.
And here he's coming right out of the slot, and it's on Captain Munnerlyn. You see there, and he runs an in-cutting route, and they're playing zone. That was a busted coverage. Somebody busted coverage. I think it was Frank Alexander who was supposed to drop. But you saw Captain Munnerlyn turn and put his hands out and say, "What are you doing?"
Marshawn Lynch. Seattle 11 trips into the red zone inside the 20, and that's worst in the National Football League in terms of coming out with touchdowns. They'll have a 2nd down here. They can still get a 1st down before getting a touchdown. They need 9 yards. Panthers got the ball on offense to start with 3 and out after Seattle deferred. Seahawks first possession. It's Marshawn Lynch again with nowhere to go. It'll be 3rd down. Offensive coordinator calling the signals, hoping to loosen the reins a little bit on his rookie quarterback at some point.
Well, I'll tell you what this offense is. To me, it's the Donovan McNabb, Philadelphia West Coast offense. And Darrell Bevell is the offensive coordinator for Brad Childress up in Minnesota. And to me, that most reflects this version of the West Coast offense that Darrell Bevell has been trained in. It's the Donovan McNabb style.
3rd and 9. Wilson's pass, he opened in the clear, but doesn't get into the end zone. This is tight end Zach Miller. It'll be 4th down.
You know what's interesting is you get down here in the red zone, we didn't see one throw that penetrated the goal line. I mean, everything was underneath and counting on his guys to run after the catch. And that's just the quick get it out for Russell Wilson.
So an impressive drive with excellent field position, and the Seahawks will settle for a 3-point try. It'll be a 22-yard field goal attempt for Stephen Hauska, 7 of 8. And he knuckles that one through. 8 of 9 for the season. And the Seahawks on the road strike first and lead it 3-0.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
There is Pete Carroll chatting with players as he does throughout the game. He comes from the coffee capital of the world, Seattle. I don't think he ever met a cup of decaf in his life.
I think that gum's got some caffeine in it. He's going to wear that out.
And brings his team out, as has been his tradition on Friday. Going to walk through on Saturday when they're on the East Coast as Hauschka boots it back for Bolaris. And Kealoha, his second return. A little bit better, but still stopped short of the 20-yard line. Seattle winning the field position game early. So here comes Cam Newton and the Panthers on offense in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
Panthers have the football, but that Seattle defense, they're only giving up 3 yards a carry on the ground.
And what's beautiful about them is it all starts with that defensive line, but they're so young. I mean, you got 2 linebackers, one's a rookie, one's in year number 2, and the secondary is awfully young. Nowhere to go but up, and already very good.
On first down, hand off to Williams. D'Angelo carries forward from the 19-yard line. Brandon Mebane coming off his best game of the year, according to Pete Carroll, from that inside tackle spot.
Awesome. Short, quick, and thick, and can penetrate and get in the backfield and wreak havoc as a run defender. He's also gotten better as a pass rusher, got a couple of sacks on the season. That matchup versus Ryan Khalil today, who I think is the best center in pro football right in the middle, it's going to be a good one to watch.
5 defensive backs here on 2nd and 7. That's Jonathan Stewart, who is brought down in the arms of Brandon Mebane, and it's going to be 3rd down. What do you think of this early play calling for the Panthers?
Well, the Panthers have got to run it, and here's Mebane right here. He's front side on Ryan Khalil, so he's got to stay on that side and gets the down block and then just shakes Silatolu and makes the tackle right on the line of scrimmage. That's really impressive.
I know Gus Bradley, the defensive coordinator we saw moments ago, said all week we had to worry about the option and practice defending it, but how much of it? Now on 3rd and 6, Steve Smith on the left side. Cam Newton with time. And almost intercepted. He missed Steve Smith, and again Cam Chancellor back there, but it hit the ground. It'll be 4th down.
He had about 8 seconds to unload that football. They come with the pressure, that being Seattle, all from Cam Newton's right, and he's holding it, and then throws it late over the middle, not even close to Steve Smith. Lucky that ball wasn't picked by Cam Chancellor.
Another 3 and out. Seattle defense doing its job on Carolina as Brad Nortman.
Pete may ask for a challenge here.
Brad Nortman stands inside his 10-yard line to punt the ball. They're respotting the football, it looks like. Terry McCauley, our referee today. Leon Washington back to receive the punt. And a good boot. Oh, inside his own 15-yard line. Leon still going across the 31-yard line. A sparkling return of 17 yards after a 63-yard boot from Nortman. Seahawks the upper hand on the football.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Cadillac, the standard of the world. By the Samsung Galaxy S3, the next big thing is already here. And by Burger King and the new Chicken Parmesan Sandwich.
Russell Wilson with some 50 friends and family. Drafted by the Orioles as a baseball player at NC State, left, gambled because the Colorado Rockies drafted him. Actually played some minor league ball then. They wouldn't take him back at NC State, so he went on to Wisconsin, and then a 3rd-round draft pick of the Seahawks, and he beats out Matt Flynn as a rookie to start in this his 5th game. But the Seahawks last in the NFL in passing.
315.
First down, they're going to fake it. Russell Wilson looking for a passing lane. There's a flag down. He's going deep and reaching out for it. His Golden Tate. Flag back at the 22 of Seattle.
Holding offense number 68. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Breno Giacomini, the right tackle. Charles Johnson, who's coming off a whale of a game from last week against Atlanta. It's over here. He's the one that ends up getting held by Giacomini, and what a shame for the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, he just tackled him from up top.
It's a 56-yard gain that is negated. So,
I think that's a preview, not the hold, but of what we're going to see out of Russell Wilson. You're going You said it. They're number 32 in throwing the ball in the league. They've also thrown it less than any other team in pro football. Because of the matchup and because of how I think they feel about Russell Wilson in this game, Chris, I'll be surprised if we don't see 35 throws out of the rookie quarterback.
1st and 20. Russell Wilson open in the middle of the field. Complete to Doug Baldwin, who's all the way up to the 40 near another first down. Baldwin, who's had a hamstring, broken teeth, dental surgery, and a shoulder injury, has become now healthy enough as the go-to guy.
And we haven't seen a lot of this, getting everybody to flow this way, a little zone read fake, and then an option pass to Doug Baldwin on the shallow cross coming back the other way.
2nd down 1 after a gain of 19, so nice recovery after the holding penalty. Inside handoff to Michael Robinson, the fullback. The Seahawks, the only NFL team with more rushing yards than passing yards. They run it 56% of the time, but Pete Carroll told us, look, I don't want to run every down. That's not what we're all about. But as his young quarterback develops, he can lean on Marshawn Lynch, and it's a fresh set of downs from the 42.
And they'll continue to do that. Look, Pete Carroll has told us many times, it's the Bill Walsh theory in quarterback play. Don't make it too hard for your quarterback. Run the ball, play action. Just let him orchestrate the game. You don't want to put too much on Russell Wilson.
1st and 10, that's Golden Tate. They want him to run with the football, and he does. A first down inside Carolina territory. 12-yard pickup.
Nice easy throw for Russell Wilson, diagnosing that he's got some form of a man coverage out on the edge. And that's one thing now Golden Tate can do. He can get yards after the catch.
He was drafted, Golden Tate, by the Arizona Diamondbacks. Played baseball at Notre Dame, so a good connection with Russell Wilson. Marshawn Lynch carries, and that's Wood. Slips another tackle to the 41-yard line before a swarm of Panthers bottle him up. Just over the 6-minute mark here in the opening quarter.
Just watch Marshawn Lynch, and we all call him a split-legged runner. You ever see his feet come together? I mean, that's why he just runs through arm tackles, rarely goes down when the first guy hits him because his feet are never together. A split-legged runner always has a good wide base, hard to knock off his feet.
He is 40% of the Seattle offense.
315. Watch the lead. 315. Check.
2nd and 4 from the 41. Russell Wilson back to throw and completes, but it won't be good enough for a first down, maybe a yard pickup. Michael Robinson catching it out of the backfield. They've struggled on 3rd down.
Have they ever? Coming into this game, and you can see what they've done on 3rd down in terms of their conversions. They get into 7+, and they got almost no chance. Last 14 throws on 3rd down coming into this game. Russell Wilson, Chris, had only completed one of them.
4 wide receivers look for Doug Baldwin here because Russell Wilson likes to. But the Carolina defense needs a stop. Wilson on the run. Will not get the first down. Panthers play it beautifully.
Well, give Carolina's defense some credit because Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks were in an empty set, which means there was nobody in the backfield. There were 5 guys going out. A lot of people like to blitz it. Carolina chose to only rush 4, drop 7 in coverage, and they were able to get enough pressure on Russell Wilson that he had to leave the pocket.
Last time they moved the ball 41 yards to set up a field goal. They're going to punt it here with John Ryan on 4th down, even though they're in Carolina territory. And Captain Munnerlyn lets it go. And the field position game continues to favor Seattle. Maxwell downs it after a 34-yard punt. Panthers on offense inside their own 10, trailing by 3. In case you're wondering why Carolina is starting inside its own 5, Myron Maxwell fighting on the punt to be down inside the 5 to down it.
That was perfect. You know, late picks, college free agents. He's in year 2 as a 6th-round pick. You got to make your hay on special teams. That was well done.
From Clemson. On 1st down, Jonathan Stewart. Finally, the Panthers, after a pair of 3 and outs, get a first down. Jonathan Stewart is from Lacey, Washington.
It's a really nice block by Jordan Gross up on the inside. And that inside run game, Chris, is where Ron Rivera said Jonathan Stewart helps him out the most. And we all know D'Angelo Williams is a bounce out to the edge guy. And Jonathan's been dealing with an ankle a good portion of the season. He said when he's out there, though, he just brings so much. As Ron Rivera said, he brings so much to our inside running game. That was a good example of it there.
With D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and Cam Newton, you wonder how anybody can stop this rushing attack. Cam Newton will run for cover. He's 0 for 3 so far and just does not look comfortable.
You know, you talked about Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Williams, and Cam Newton and the three-headed running monster. This will put into perspective how good Marshawn Lynch has been this year. Marshawn's got 423 yards rushing by himself. That three-headed monster for Carolina has 425 combined.
In fact, Ron Rivera described Marshawn Lynch as the perfect blend of D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart all in one. On 2nd down 8, Panthers need to get their offense going. The backfield. Cam fakes and the pitches. And running with the football is Polaris. On his first touchdown pass of his career last week. Now he's running the option, a gain of 13.
What a great play by Cam Newton. Number one, the whole defense squeezes down on a slant. Now Cam's going to roll out to his right, and then watch the pressure he puts on KJ Wright. KJ Wright, the linebacker, doesn't know whether to go get the pitch man or tackle Cam Newton, and Cam just waits for him to commit. As soon as he does, he flips it out to Polaris. That was good.
KJ Wright, in his second year, the team's leading tackler.
56.
First down pass for Steve Smith, and he has it. Spins out of the tackle, gets across the 40. He has another Carolina first down.
I love the play calling. They're going to show you off coverage. Play the horizontal pass game. Just go with the out routes, the in cuts, get it out quick. One thing about Steve Smith that people always forget, here he goes just on an out route in front of the off coverage. He came into this league as a great punt returner, and when you get him the ball out in space like that, he really becomes that punt returner. He just made 2 guys miss and picks up the first down.
He's only 5'9", going up against the 6'4" Brandon Browner. From the 43 on 1st and 10. Here's Cam Newton with time. Middle of the field. Incomplete. Steve Smith through his hands.
And we know Steve Smith is fearless. He's sniffing a little fear that time with Cam Chancellor, ready to dislodge the ball from his body.
Well, he's mishandled 2 pass catch possibilities, rare for him already.
And that's the thing about a defense like Seattle brings to the table. I mean, they are big-time hitters. I promise you, receivers are thinking about it when they're on those crossing routes.
Puts him in a 2nd and 10 situation. D'Angelo Williams, the long back. Quick pass to Lewis Murphy. He doesn't get much. Murphy, the former Raider, Florida Gator that they're trying to work into the system, still learning the Carolina offense. Now it'll be 3rd down for, this has been the best drive offensively in 3 tries for Cam Newton.
I'll tell you one thing that's amazing about Cam Newton. He's not off to a great start here, 1 for 5, but he's got a West Coast completion percentage, and you know, the short passing attack, and I was talking to Ron Rivera about it, he's 64%, but he's got the deep vertical yards per attempt at 9.5 per throw. Pretty incredible combination of numbers for him.
He has room to run if he can get loose. But what a play to keep him from getting a first down. Bobby Wagner, the rookie linebacker.
They loved Bobby Wagner from day one when they drafted him, and it was for plays like this. And watch the speed of Bobby Wagner, who's just going to flash into your screen. Comes on a pressure, he's able to get away from the offensive tackle, and then look at him close the gap on Cam Newton. Chris, that does not happen very often to Cam Newton.
2nd round draft pick from Utah State. Wagner with the big play, forcing Nortman to punt. And watch out on the run from the 20 is Washington. And again, across the 31-yard line. Productive return yards 11 on the return. Setting up Seattle's offense after the Seahawks defense does its job. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers from Carolina. Seahawks coming off a road loss at Seattle. They beat Dallas and Green Bay at home and lost their opener on the road at Arizona. The Panthers are 1-3. On 1st and 10 with a 3-0 lead. They pitch it to Ben Obamano. Running it outside, and he does. Slides across the 41-yard line near what would be another Seattle first down. The only scoring in the opening quarter. A field goal by Hauska, and there is a flag down in Carolina territory.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit. Offense number 68. 15-yard penalty. The offense made a first down on the play, so it'll be 1st and 10 after enforcement. First down.
Now that's 2 big ones on Giacomini. Had the big hold on the deep throw that was well over 50 yards. Probably their biggest play of the year for the Seattle Seahawks. He held Charles Johnson, and then that time after the play.
And they're going to run the clock here, which will wind the first quarter down.
Here's the penalty here.
And Frank Omiel is coming in for Giacomini.
Off. 3:15.
And that'll end the quarter. Seahawks unaware maybe that clock was winding down. Fox NFL Sunday will continue after a break from your local station. It's the Seahawks leading the Panthers 3-0, and Seattle has the football. Beginning the second quarter, Pete Carroll has sent Giacomini to the bench as right tackle after a couple of devastating penalties. But it is 1st and 10. It backs the Hawks up to the 28-yard line, and there goes Marshawn Lynch across the 42-yard line before Nakamura makes a tackle, but it's a Seattle first down.
I'll tell you, an underrated guy, Michael Robinson, the fullback, and here he is. Watch him lead through the hole and just whack Luke Kuechly. There's the lead block, or boom, it was right there. It was on Thomas Davis, rather, excuse me. I mean, he is a big-time blocker. Very underrated. Former quarterback at Penn State.
3:15.
Wilson will go down. Kuechly, the rookie linebacker, with the sack. Greg Hardy was in on the play as well. Frank Omiel, by the way, number 65, has come in for Giacomini, a former Carolina Panther, also an ex-Baron Falcon. And now from the 37-yard line, it'll be 2nd and 15. Lynch remains the back. Pass is high, but hauled in by Braylon Edwards. Taking advantage of his height as they're scuffling on the sideline over there. Josh Norman, the rookie corner.
Got the rookie going against Grandpa. How long has Braylon been around?
Braylon is 29 years old.
Seems like he's 39. I'll tell you, his knee's finally healthy, though. And that wasn't the case in San Francisco last year, and they let him go before the season was even over.
You wonder how Russell Wilson and the Seattle offense takes advantage of no Chris Gamble and no John Beeson. So it's 3rd and 5, another third down challenge for the Seattle offense. Robert Turbin is in, the rookie runner who's also a receiver.
They got a home run shot there if they want to go for it.
And Wilson's sideline pass is caught for a first down, and Sidney Rice knocked to the turf by Josh Norman.
And you can see just by the safety's up here. There is nobody back here. So Sidney Rice, if he wants to take him deep, they can go over the top. But he just reads the leverage. Very nice job by the corner who's playing him on the upfield shoulder. So he just puts the brakes on and runs a comeback route.
So now Russell Wilson is 8 of 9. Remember, he had a 56-yard pass play wiped out on a penalty. And Sidney Rice has a couple of catches in the game.
He looks very sharp so far, Russell Wilson.
From the 42-yard line of Carolina. He's running it. And there goes Russell Wilson. Near another first down.
Here's what Russell Wilson can do is he can read the pass rush by the defensive line, even at only 5'11". Look at him see the little crease right out to his left and senses that a lot of defenders are down the field with their backs to him, and he takes off and runs for about 9 yards.
He's run for 80 yards prior to this game. A healthy pickup there.
So he looks terrific, Chris, and I said it in the open. I mean, this could be a get-right game for him, and so far he's 8 for 9.
315. Watch the Carolina. 315. Go.
On 2nd and 1. He's got the whole field, but what a tackle by Antoine Applewhite. Let's get a game break. Here's Patrick O'Neill.
Chris, thanks. I want to show you an amazing comeback for the Colts against the Packers. Indy was down 21-3 at the half at home, but Andrew Luck, all skill on that play to Reggie Wayne. Last chance for the Packers. Mason Crosby hooks a 51-yarder. Indy, an emotional victory at home over the Packers, 30-27. Chris and Tim.
A shocker there, Patrick, and in the division, Seattle 2-2. Look it up. The 49ers and the Rams in Arizona in the West. Pass is caught, sideline right.
You can see that Russell Wilson is feeling it. He's knowing what he's seeing. Carolina that time showed it and faked like they were going to come with the blitz. They dropped everybody out. He saw it, got to his back foot, and then here's a good illustration of his arm strength. Just lasered that right into Sidney Rice, and knowing he's going to get hit the whole way as Charles Johnson came around the corner.
Just inside the 26-yard line. This is Lynch. I want to go back to Russell Wilson because it tells you something for a rookie after the tough loss on the road at St. Louis. He went in, looked at game film at 5:30 in the morning. He had left a note in each of the receivers on his Seahawks team in their locker about ways, after reviewing tape of the next opponent, how they could take advantage of the Carolina defense. As we have Charles Johnson limping off the field, but that's how far ahead the rookie quarterback is.
I talked to some of the coaches down on the field before the game. He said this guy's in their ear on like Mondays and Tuesdays about the game plan. They said, "Whoa, settle down, man. We got to figure out what's going to work for you."
Marshawn Lynch will wear down the Panther defense. They do a nice job of pushing him backwards. James Anderson and Applewhite. Applewhite had that big play moments ago.
And that's the thing. I mean, Russell Wilson, he's got his own ideas on Monday and Tuesday about how he can break down the opponent. And he's putting it in the ear of the coaches, and they're saying, well, wait a minute, man. Let us evaluate. Let us try to figure this thing out. And I think that's been part of his deal through the first 4 weeks. I think he prepares so hard. He puts so much pressure on himself, Chris, to make all those plays. But he's almost restricted his ability to just go out and play. That's not the story here today.
He's passing the third down test of this drive. It's 3rd and 6. Underneath to Robert Turbin, and ball is ruled down, and it looks like it'll be 4th down.
Well, he had a missed opportunity right there to Doug Baldwin for an easy touchdown out to his left, and Russell Wilson simply didn't see him and didn't let the play develop, because if he would have, he'd have hit Doug Baldwin for an easy score.
Hauschka on to try a field goal. He hit from 22 earlier.
And here it is. Watch Baldwin take it to the outside. He also had Golden Tate over the middle.
A missed opportunity, but Hauschka can get 3. This will be a 36-yard try. And Seattle takes a 6-0 lead. Their defense as good as advertised. The offense good enough so far. We'll see how Cam Newton responds here in Carolina in just a moment.
Today's game is sponsored by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost. By Miller Lite, it's not just a good time, it's Miller time. And by DirecTV, now NFL Sunday Ticket is included at no extra charge when you switch.
Tim Ryan, Chris Myers here in Carolina, and Russell Wilson, the rookie, 5 out of 5 on that drive, producing a field goal. 10 of 11 so far in the game, over 100 yards passing already. But only field goals as Hauschka gets ready to kick off to Kealoha Polaris, who has not done much on his first 2 tries. And here he goes again. gets out across the 22-yard line. Better starting field position for the Carolina Panthers, who need to try and muster some offense. Here in Carolina, we've been talking about Cam Newton, D'Angelo Williams, Jonathan Stewart, and yes, Mike Tolbert, one of the new additions, part of that Panther rushing attack. Tolbert is in on 1st and 10 for Cam Newton. They haven't had a lot of opportunity yet.
At 13 plays on offense, they have yet to convert a third down. They got to get it to Greg Olsen.
That's for Steve Smith. Through his hands. Brandon Browner was running with him. Smith has struggled today.
Well, he had the early drop out to the sideline. Then he had the one he didn't really want to go for over the middle. And this is a beautiful throw from Cam Newton. Oh, that looks like pass interference to me. It looked like Brandon Browner had his hands down across the chest of Steve Smith as he was reaching for the football.
Long before the football got there.
Absolutely.
Should have been a flag. No flag. And the fans saw it here.
Just saw it up on the Jumbotron.
Big time.
This is the guy they got to get involved. Greg Olsen has got to be a factor in this passing game.
What is it? What is it?
Second and 10. Try to run a screen, but it's batted down. It'll be third down. Excellent defensive play up front. They're going at it. Sherman and Smith.
That's going to be a brawl for the next 2.5 quarters. The rest of the game, Richard Sherman and Steve Smith are going to be going at it.
Steve Smith threw the 6'3"
See him
Sherman.
sink the whizzer in there, that wrestling move, the underhook.
To the ground. No flag on that play, just like there was no flag on the pass interference. Sherman and Browner, the angular corners, make up the tallest secondary in the NFL and maybe in league history.
And they will both wear you out verbally, both of those corners, especially Richard Sherman. He and Steve Smith, their vocal cords will be cooked at the end of this game.
Third down test for Cam Newton. He falls and is brought down by Bruce Irvin, the rookie from West Virginia.
A lot of people were shocked when Pete Carroll got this guy in the middle of round number 1. And I'll tell you why they got him is he's got unbelievable speed and the ability to finish. He's going to come up inside and then watch him turn the jets on Cam Newton. That's twice in this game we've seen Cam Newton run down from behind by defenders. It rarely happens to Cam Newton. A good illustration of the speed of this Seattle defense.
For Irvin, that's 3.5 sacks already in just the 5th game of his career. Leon Washington inside the Seattle 40, picks up the football. And the Panthers are there to bottle them up. Carolina defense keeping the Panthers in this game. Seahawks have the lead. They have the football.
Today's game is sponsored by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible.
Seattle Seahawks with a 6-0 lead. First 4 weeks of the NFL season. Highest scoring points in the history of the league. But not here. It's been about defense.
Look what they've done there on first down.
On first down here, Marshawn Lynch tops that number. There's a flag coming in late back at the 37-yard line of Seattle.
Holding offense number 76. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Pete's just relieved that it wasn't Breno Giacomini who is back in at right tackle, but that's on Russell Okung, who's had 6 penalties already this year called on him. It negates a 20-yard gain.
Boy, I was completely out away from the play for Russell Okung. There's Russell right there, left tackle. That's a terrible call. They missed the number on that. There's no way that could have been on Russell Okung.
The call made. So now back at the Seattle 28. It's 1st and 20. Robert Turbin splits out to the left as a receiver. Down the middle of the field for Sidney Rice, who makes a big-time catch leaping in the air against Sherrod Martin, the backup safety. Some Panther fans think should be playing a lot more.
Here's a good illustration of how Russell Wilson can kind of step up in the pocket and find the open lane, because this is going to be a deep in-cutting route here. And Russell Wilson just steps up in between his offensive linemen, opens up his vision point, and unloads a strike to Sidney Rice.
2nd and 5, overcoming the penalty.
Be 5'11" all you want. Move well in the pocket and be efficient. You can find the throwing lanes.
And that's Robert Turbin carrying up near the first down at the 48-yard line. Let's check on New England and Denver. Here's Patrick O'Neill.
A pretty good one. Broncos Patriots or Manning versus Brady. Take a look. Tom Brady, a Wes Welker sighting, 8-yard touchdown. Welker with 5 catches already. Patriots an early lead, 7-0. Closing in on the end of the first quarter. Chris and Tim.
Those are the updated standings. Russell Wilson, by the way, his goal to be one of the best. And he said, I look at guys like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady and Drew Brees. They study and prepare. Nobody out-prepares or outworks them.
Nobody's out-preparing Russell Wilson, the guys that I've talked to. This guy doesn't stop.
On 3rd and 1. Inside handoff, Robinson.
Looks like he's going to get it on the forward progress by the spot.
Thomas Davis in the middle of all that. Be careful. 3 ACL surgeries, and the guy's out there playing. It is a first down for the Seahawks.
This is just really about second effort for Michael Robinson, because he runs right into the wall and then bounces out to the left and then just keeps driving. He's going to pop out to the left, sees a little bit of daylight. Just enough.
Seahawks have dominated time of possession. Continue to drive. That's Golden Tate. Brought down with a nice tackle by Thomas Davis.
I think that ACL is all right. You just said it. He's had 3 of them. No one's ever come back from 3 torn ACLs. And you got to feel really good for Thomas Davis. And watch him turn the heat on right here in the open field to make this tackle. Just flash to the right of your screen and wrap up Golden Tate and throw him down for a loss.
So it will be 2nd and 11. Seahawks have the ball at their own 47-yard line.
Yeah, Carolina's got to get off the field here and get the ball back to their offense. They've had the ball 16 plays in this game. Dominated in time of possession.
Robert Turbin. It'll bring up 3rd down. Time of possession so far. Look at that.
Look at this.
10 minutes.
And that's what it really leads to. Play opportunities. And think about this. Think about it big picture. Marshawn Lynch has yet to really get it cranked up in terms of all the opportunities. If this Seahawks defense or this Carolina defense wears down, he will respond with a big second half.
On 3rd and 6, Russell Wilson, a quick throw. Right at the first down marker is Doug Baldwin. Tackle made, but it looks like they're going to be a little bit short.
Huge tackle by Sherrod Martin. Huge. Good to see him back in the lineup and getting some minutes for the Carolina Panthers. This cat's got 35 starts, and you can see it here in terms of his experience. Knowing where the first down marker is. Knew he had a blitz up in front of him. Forced Russell Wilson to throw to the little blitz beater receiver, and he comes up and makes the tackle to get off the field.
John Ryan can boom it, also can place it. Munnerlyn inside the 10. Waves for the fair catch and watches it stick and go out of bounds. A well-placed punt without a return of 34 yards. So the Panther offense will start out in a hole, but Seattle with a 6-0 lead. Tim Ryan, Chris Myers, we're glad you're with us. Atlanta won today. They're 5-0 in the division. The Buccaneers have the afternoon off. The winless Saints play tonight. The Panthers 1-3, trying to turn things around.
And this is a huge game for them. This is a huge drive. I mean, they've got the bye week next week. The schedule is not favorable. Chris, they're -5 yards in the passing game. Seattle that good, or have they been that bad? A little of both.
Cam Newton keeps this time. Gets up to the 15. Cam is 1 for 7 in the passing department, but Steve Smith has missed on 3 balls that were catchable for a 5-time Pro Bowl.
Yeah, there have been a couple of drops for Steve, and then what I thought was a pass interference on a big opportunity for him down the sideline when Brandon Browner was draped across his chest before the ball got there. But the one completion, think about this, then you add that to the 2 sacks. It's -5 yards throwing for the first half.
Greg Olsen, leading receiver on the team coming in, has not caught a pass and has not been targeted. On second down, incomplete for Steve Smith.
And Cam knows it. That was a bad throw. He had exactly what he wanted in terms of the look for Steve Smith, coming out of a tight split and getting right down the middle of the field. Busted the coverage. Cam Newton busted the throw and didn't get it there.
So now it's 3rd and 4. Each team with 3 timeouts and 8 seconds before the 2-minute warning. 0 for 4 on 3rd down. His suffocating defense has done its part against a guy who's, as we said in the open, been involved in 42 touchdowns in 20 NFL games.
See if Pete Carroll brings some pressure. KJ Wright showing it from the right side. Here he comes.
Cam Newton for Jonathan Stewart, and he doesn't hang on.
They're going to get a hit on Chris Clemens. He's going to continue the drive
On
Cam Newton. That's right.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 91. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
A big break for the Panthers, who get a first down.
It's the only way they've been able to convert on 3rd down, and Clemens picks him up, and then you can't lift and drive like that. And Chris knows that. Chris Clemens knows that as a pass rusher in this league.
Caught up in the moment. Carolina trying to get into Seattle territory for the first time today. So from the 30-yard line, 1st and 10, Panthers. Time for Cam Newton. It's batted incomplete. Chris Clemens got his arms up.
Well, Chris Clemens is angry about that last call, so he decided he was going to bear down and do the bull rush on Jordan Gross. Was able to get his hands up right down the middle and get a bat down.
So it'll be 2nd and 10, the 2-minute warning. Panthers have the football. They have all 3 timeouts, but they trail here 6-0 to the Seahawks. It's the biggest sports month of the year. Foxtoberfest continuing Saturday. College football with UCLA and Utah, then USC taking on Washington. Sunday, Fox NFL doubleheader. America's game of the week, the Cowboys and Ravens. Some will see the Giants and 49ers. And then game 1 of the National League Championship Series. Baseball's best take a step towards the World Series. Foxtoberfest next weekend, right here.
Ricky!
2nd and 10 Panthers. Furthest they've gone with the football, their own 42-yard line in this game. Pressure picked up. Cam Newton throws in the clears. Brandon LaFell with a first down. And he is into Seattle territory. It's only the 2nd completion for Cam Newton, a 21-yard gain.
Yeah, and it's just a shallow crossing route. Man coverage. You're going to see KJ Wright there. He's switching it off with the corner, saying, I got him on the crosser. No, he didn't. He was about 10 yards behind Brandon LaFell. Good read by Cam Newton.
From the 49, their best scoring opportunity. Steve Smith out to the right side. Top of your screen, there's LaFell. Louis Murphy is in as well. Intercepted and dropped at the 31-yard line. Earl Thomas, it looked like it was thrown right to him.
I'll tell you why it's thrown. Jason Jones, and thrown early, has been a huge asset to this Seattle defense, and the ability to rush inside. That is a wicked good move, getting to the edge there on Gary Williams. And Earl Thomas, or Richard Sherman, excuse me. No, that is Earl Thomas, right on the 9 and couldn't hold on to it.
Steve Smith, the intended target. 2nd and 10, all 3 timeouts for Seattle. 1:46 to go in the half.
Here comes the pressure.
It's picked up. Cam Newton throws while Steve Smith was shoving Richard Sherman. There's no flag yet.
Hey, I don't know how that's not offensive pass interference on Steve Smith. And that ball is in the air, and Steve Smith is still driving Richard Sherman backwards. And has his hands all up in the face mask in the grill of Richard Sherman. Told you this was going to be a 4-quarter brawl. Look at that stab move.
It looked like Smith and Cam Newton weren't on the same page.
How is that not offensive pass interference?
Sherman went to Stanford. He's saying, I don't know everything, but I know some things. Now a 3rd and 10. Pressure picked up again. Cam Newton, he's got room to run. First down. Inside the 35 of Seattle. Panthers are going to use a timeout. They'll have 2 remaining after an 18-yard gain.
Look at all the pressure coming from the left side of the offense, and Cam Newton just nice and patient. It's one thing about him now, he's fearless. He'll hold in on the pocket, even knowing that the defense is blitzing and sending extra guys, and he's rewarded for hanging in there, finds an open lane and cooks it with his legs all the way down to about the 35-yard line.
You talked about dealing with the hangover of that Atlanta game, the slow start, but that's the kind of play that Cam Newton likes to get himself in this offense going.
And I'll tell you one thing, as bad as it's been for them in the first half, they're down 6 points. I mean, only way to go is up for them. It could be a lot worse. You think of Seattle and how they've self-destructed with a couple of big penalties and a couple other missed opportunities. Carolina should feel good that it's only 6-0.
From the 34-yard line, 1st and 10. Cam keeps weaving his way up the middle. First down to the 20-yard line of Seattle.
That was a designed run the whole way. It just looked like he was going to pump it out and throw it to Lewis Murphy, and then Cam just took off right down the middle.
At the 1-minute mark, 2 timeouts. He's going for the end zone and incomplete, out of bounds. Lewis Murphy was in the area.
Cam, for some reason, is not seeing Greg Olsen, and Greg was wide open on that play. 2 really good blocks here. There's the first one by Tolbert, and then watch Ryan Khalil also get up on Bobby Wagner. Khalil looks like he's playing on one leg. I think he had to go over and get his ankle retaped. 2 really good blocks leading the way there for Cam Newton. But back to Greg Olsen. Where's he been? Where's Cam in terms of targeting him in this game? That's a couple of times I've seen Olsen wide open. Cam Newton's not even looking his way.
10th play of the drive. From the 21. He threw low and incomplete for Mike Tolbert. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee to see what's coming up in the half.
At halftime, we'll have highlights from a busy day in the NFL, including an emotional upset victory for the Colts. The Falcons remain perfect while RG3 leaves with an injury, and the Dolphins surprised the Bengals in Cincinnati. So join me, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy on the Visa Halftime. We'll see you there.
Thanks, Kurt. And are those holograms or the...
Terry's head's looking good. See that?
All right, we've got Cam Newton 2 for 14 passing. And he's going to try again and hasn't got the man open. That's Steve Smith, who spins but can't get the first down. Richard Sherman made sure that Steve Smith couldn't break away.
Off coverage, and you don't see a lot of that from Seattle now, playing that off coverage. Steve Smith sensed it and just went to the outside. 4th down, they're just going to let this thing click all the way down, right?
He's been targeted 9 times, just 2 catches, and that didn't produce. In that case, you got to try to, if you get the first down, I mean, you got to go for it here. Otherwise, field goals, and they're letting the clock run down.
Well, I think you got to get some points.
I'm just talking about the throw. He didn't have room to run. I mean, take a shot at the end zone here. So we have a timeout with 6 seconds remaining, and it's 4th down for Carolina. Justin Medlock has only attempted and made 1 field goal through the first 4 games of the season. From the Canadian Football League, this will be a 33-yard try. J.J. Jansen, the snapper. And the kick is through, so Carolina gets on the board. Officially, they'll mark that as a 32-yard field goal. Looks like we get somebody limping here. I don't know why Medlock is shaking it off, but he's 2 for 2 with the Panthers to start this year.
He's not in kicking shape, Chris. He's only kicked 1 all year. This is number 2.
Let's take a little
limp.
Okay, did he pull something? Reaching
Like
towards
he's reaching down at his right knee, his plant leg.
He's provided the only points for Carolina in this game, and that was adventurous from 32. Two seconds to go in the half, dominated by the Seattle defense, and it was Cam Newton's running that got the Panthers going. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson, 12 of 13, 124 yards. Join the NFL and the American Cancer Society in the fight against breast cancer by supporting the Crucial Catch campaign. Visit NFL.com/auction, and you can bid now on authentic NFL pink gear worn by players and coaches.
Did you see the race for the cure here in Charlotte on yesterday? 24,000 folks showed up to take part in that walk/run, raised over $1 million.
Greg Olson, his mom Susan, a breast cancer survivor, and they'll squib this to try and get to the half. All sitting on the 20-yard line. They might remember that in the second half as Leon Washington gets on it. And in a battle of field goals, the Seahawks lead the Panthers 6-3, and Seattle gets the football to start the second half. Let's check in now with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles. Well, if you wanted to see excellent defense, you've come to the right place. Seahawks with a 6-3 lead as we start the third quarter. Welcome to our perch here in Carolina. Tim Bryant, Chris Myers, glad you're with us. Well, Cam Newton in this explosive Carolina offense held in check by Pete Carroll and that stifling Seattle defense. So what does Cam and the Panthers have to do? Only trailing by 3 here in the second half.
Yeah, they should feel good about that. I'll tell you one thing is they got to help Cam better with the protection. You know, he's thrown 15 times. He's only completed 3 of them, but on those 15 throws, he was hit 9 times. So that Seattle pass rush has been cranked up, and that's really led to issues on third down. Only 1 third down conversion in this game for the Carolina Panthers.
Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to itunes.com/NFL.
I think they're still hung over, Chris, from the way it ended in Atlanta last week. I mean, they are still in a funk offensively. You can see it.
Seattle deferred to start the game, so they'll begin this half on offense as Leon Washington gets in the clear, and he's still going. Ball comes out, and Carolina has it. Quickly on the recovery, Josh Thomas. Jason Phillips created the fumble, and Josh Thomas came up with it. Could be a game-turning play in what is a season-shaping game for the Panthers.
Leon Washington going to press it right up inside there, and now watch him bounce to the right. Watch 53 Phillips tracking on him and rips that ball out, and it certainly looked like it came out before Leon Washington's back hit the ground.
Came in as the second leading kickoff returner in the NFL, but a big turnover. And the booth review, every turnover confirmed by the officiating crew.
With Leon Washington, you'd love him to have that ball in the other hand.
It's
out. Clearly out. It is clearly out before he's down.
It's been confirmed. First down, 37-yard line of Seattle. After a 47-yard return.
Look at it. Here we go. Set. 180. What is it?
Richard Sherman tipped it away. Steve Smith in the area. Let's check in down on the field with Christina Pink. Hi, Christina.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Speaking of Steve Smith, I asked Ron Rivera, how do they get him more involved in the second half? He said, hey, we targeted him a bunch. It's just that Cam overthrew him a couple of times. Got to get him more involved. He's one of the keys to this offense defensively. He said the key for them is keeping the Seattle Seahawks to 3rd and longs. When I talked to Pete Carroll, he said missed opportunities are killing his team. They've got to control that penalty situation, but they're doing a great job against a very volatile defense. Back up to you.
Thanks, Christina. They don't want to miss an opportunity here. Cam Newton keeps. He goes down at the 35-yard line. Chris Clemens was on him. It'll be 3rd down.
I'll tell you why Seattle's been so good on 3rd down when they're on offense, because of what they've been doing on 1st down. Russell Wilson has just chiseled and chipped away at their defense with the short passing attack.
First turnover of the game as Pete Carroll's team loses it on the kickoff return. But the Panthers, who had to settle for 3 right before the half when they had a golden opportunity to get into the end zone, as Russell Wilson is focusing.
I'm going to keep calling for it until they throw to number 88, Greg Olsen.
Pressure. And Cam Newton goes down. Bobby Wagner and Chris Clemens. And that Ledoux from the start. Third sack of the game for this Seattle defense. And they are out of field goal range.
And that's really the moral of that story in terms of how big that is, because it's coming from the left side of the offense for Carolina. And Bobby Wagner has just got so much speed turning that corner as a linebacker. But the point is, Chris, as you said, pushed him right out of field goal range. It's a huge sack.
Leon Washington fumbled the kickoff return. Let's this go. And the Panthers are on it. They'll be down inside the 5-yard line. Ron Parker downs the football. There's a flag down.
Prior to the kick, holding, offense, number 57, 10-yard penalty, 4th down.
Call is on Carolina and Jordan Sen. That's going to ruin what was an excellent special teams play and wipe out the 41-yard punt. It's been a sloppy game.
I'm telling you, Carolina should feel fortunate that Seattle's been sloppier. This thing could be a lot worse. There it is right there, Jordan Sen on Jerron Johnson.
Only one penalty on Carolina, 4 accepted on the Seahawks.
And a couple of big ones on the Seahawks, Chris, after big gains.
Leon Washington with a chance to return. A difference of more than 10 yards for Seattle. A little breathing room after a 47-yard punt, but Seattle's defense stymieing Cam and the Carolina offense.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Toyota Care. By Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go. And by Internet Explorer. Welcome to a more beautiful web.
The Seattle defense doing its job against Cam Newton and the explosive Panther offense. A 6-3 game. Marshawn Lynch only his 8th carry of the game, and Luke Kuechly makes the play. Referred to by Ron Rivera, he said he has Lance Briggs-like possibilities.
Well, he's saying he did compare him to the Chicago Bears linebackers, and Ron Rivera coached those guys when they were in the Super Bowl. Of course, Ron was a great Chicago Bear linebacker himself, but said he's not as big as Urlacher, but he's in between Urlacher and Briggs, and he plays more like Lance Briggs.
John Beeson, of course, out. That allowed their leading tackler Kuechly to move over as the middle linebacker in today's game. A knee and shoulder injury on John Beeson. 2nd down 8. Russell Wilson with a throw, and it's intercepted. Picked off, and there goes Captain Marlin.
Well, this is an awful throw from Russell Wilson. It's late, and it's behind Anthony McCoy. And look at Captain Munnerlyn. Turn his hips, flip his hips, stay right on the hips of Anthony McCoy, and catch the ball that was thrown behind him.
Starting because of the injury to Chris Gamble. We mentioned Beeson out. Munnerlyn, a 7th-round draft pick from South Carolina.
5'8" up on the rim. Look at him.
Near his home turf and celebrating a big win by South Carolina and NC State yesterday.
That may be the most athletic thing he did at 5'8", get up on that 10-foot goalpost.
On for the extra point. And how quickly things can turn. Carolina getting pushed around the entire game. And a big play by one of the littlest guys. And they have the lead on the 2nd career interception return for a touchdown by Captain Munnerlyn. Russell Wilson, his 5th interception. And for Captain Munnerlyn, The 33-yard return for a score gives the Panthers the lead. The up kick goes to Doug Baldwin. Seattle on 2 possessions, 2 turnovers. That's why they trail, but the Seahawks have the football. Ron Rivera was a teammate, Sim Ryan, of yours with the Bears in the early 90s.
Well, he should be elated with how his team has come out and responded. Look, I've been in locker rooms with Ron at halftime. Very smart, very calculated, but he can motivate guys to come out and make plays, and I'm sure that's what he did, saying, look, our offense is struggling. They've got a very good defense. We've got to figure out a way to get the ball back, force some turnovers, special teams and defense. First 2 opportunities, they've been able to take the ball away.
After Marshawn Lynch carries. Meanwhile, Russell Wilson suffering the interception. He told us, I'm not afraid to throw it. My height is not a factor in throwing the ball.
Well, his arm strength was a factor there. He's got plenty of it, but he just lofted it out there. No chance that was going to get there before Captain Munnerlyn got to it.
Lynch carries again, so it'll be 3rd down for the Seahawks. Let's check on the 49ers. A game break with Kurt Benefit.
Yeah, the 49ers are rolling already, hosting Buffalo. They haven't gotten to halftime yet, but Michael Crabtree over 100 yards receiving in the first half. That touchdown from 28 yards out from Alex Smith made it 17-3. Chris and Tim.
Thanks, Kurt. It's 3rd down here.
Force a little zone over here to the side. Let's see if he just turns and short pass to one of those guys.
Wilson's throw complete at the 40. Golden Tate has a Seahawk first down. Russell Wilson has done a lot of good today, Tim, and then, of course, the unfortunate interception return for a score.
No, he's been terrific, and you saw the play action there, a little misdirection, rolls out to his left. Good game plan, giving him confidence with the short throws. Here he makes a big play with his legs. And then there, just a few minutes ago, was the interception. Late throwing it on the out route, and then did not put enough velocity on the football.
He's thrown again, and open is the tight end, Zach Miller. A big play to the 30-yard line of Carolina.
And that's the kind of zip he needed on that interception throw. That had some flames coming out of the back of it, and they're just going to run Zach Miller down the middle of the field. They want Luke Kuechly, that being Carolina, to drop deep. Play action gets him. Russell Wilson sees it and then just rockets it right over the top of Luke Kuechly to the tight end, Zach Miller.
A gain of 30.
Green 80. Green.
From the 30 on first down, Wilson to throw again. Instead, he'll keep. There's a flag down. And 2 flags are down as he's run out of bounds around the 25-yard line. Penalties have denied big plays for Seattle this afternoon.
Now this one's going to be on Carolina on the back end. I think on a couple of guys on Anthony McCoy.
Illegal contact. Defense, number 58. Holding, offense, number 67. Penalties offset. First down.
Thomas Davis and Paul McQuiston called on the infractions.
Here's McQuiston here at right guard. So that's clearly a hold. And then on the back end, the illegal contact was Thomas Davis, who did have help in coverage trying to cover Anthony McCoy, the tight end.
They offset, so from the 30-yard line, 1st and 10, Seattle. Russell Wilson gets away and throws to Marshawn Lynch. It's intercepted. He bobbled it in the air. And coming up with it was Luke Kuechly. Another Seattle turnover.
And another Carolina takeaway. 3 for 3. The special teams play and then 2 series by their defense. Both times turnovers. Russell Wilson extending the play. Throws it out to Marshawn Lynch. And now he just starts bobbling the ball. James Anderson down on his legs. And Luke Kuechly goes and gets it for pick number 2.
First career interception for Luke Kuechly, the 1st-round draft pick from Boston College, who said, I'm an instinctive player. I'm not a thinking man's player out there.
Yeah, and he was instinctive there going and getting the ball. But let's give James Anderson some credit. I mean, he was down on the ground and really ripped the right arm down to Marshawn Lynch, which really did not allow Lynch to hold on to the football.
D'Angelo Williams carries. On first down for Carolina. We talked about the quarterbacks when we opened the broadcast. Cam Newton and, of course, Russell Wilson. And it's been all about defense in this game.
Chris, when you look at the situation, big picture for Carolina, 1-3 going into their bye week, and the schedule is brutal coming down the stretch. You don't want to say it must win in the first week in October, but it's close to that.
Atlanta's 5-0. They won again today. You can't fool around in the NFC South. The winless Saints play tonight. Tampa with 1 win. Bucs have the weekend off.
And Carolina already 0-2 in the division.
Jonathan Stewart carries. Call ** NFL to download NFL Mobile and get coverage of every game. That's ***. Of course, the Panthers did defeat the New Orleans Saints.
1-2 in the division, excuse me.
That was their win, 35-27. Cam Newton lighting it up in that game. And now it'll be third down. But he's the quarterback with the lead because he hasn't turned it over.
Right.
They need 4.
Right. Lefty.
Comes the pressure again.
Pass for Steve Smith in the dirt. Here comes a flag.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 39. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's on Brandon Browner against Steve Smith. It's almost as if Cam Newton is forcing the ball to Steve Smith. He's yet to even attempt to go to Greg Olsen, the tight end, who is the leading receiver coming into this game.
Yeah, and I love the fact you try to get the ball to your playmakers, even if they're locked up in coverage, which Steve has been most of the day. But with all that man coverage out on the edge, there's a lot of open areas underneath for Greg Olsen, and they haven't exploited it.
Can has it. He'll keep it and go down. There's a flag down on the other side of the field.
Yeah, Steve Smith and Richard Sherman are having a wrestling match out on the edge.
Holding, offense number 89. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Steve Smith cost the Panthers. He's been targeted quite a bit today and has only 2 catches, has 3 drops.
Well, the times that he's been open, he's not been able to hang on to the football. The other times he has been gloved up or locked up by these corners who have not given him any separation, and that's stupid by Steve Smith. I mean, Richard Sherman is just going to try to cover anything that's going to go to Brandon LaFell, and Steve initiated the action and absolutely threw him down for no reason.
On first and 20. Steve Smith has it. They'll pick up about 10. Richard Sherman, by the way, the corner from Stanford, admits that he plays with a chip on his shoulder, something Steve Smith has made a career out of. But Sherman said, you know, you never get credit for being a good athlete when you go to a place like Stanford.
Well, and he could have gone to USC, too. He's from Compton, down in Southern California and Los Angeles, and he just loved that feel-good story that a kid from Compton can go to Stanford and be successful. Pete Carroll recruited him at USC. He chose the Cardinal over the Trojans, which I'll never understand.
Being a USC grad yourself.
Hey, 5 down.
On second and 13, pressure coming. They're going to run a screen to Jonathan Stewart. He can't hang on it. Panthers have had their share of drops and miscues today.
But Cam has not been accurate underneath, Chris, and I'll tell you why. He's been hit probably 12 times on the 18 throws. And that time it was set up perfectly. The screen was away from the pressure. It was away from where Seattle was sending the blitz, but Cam just rushed it and was inaccurate with his throw.
Seattle's defense can do that to you. And now third and 13.
Hey, Rocco, 5-4.
Jonathan Stewart across the 36-yard line, but it'll be fourth down. Brandon Browner made sure he didn't go any further. But Cam Newton, who's 6'5" and 245, said, hey, I could take the hits.
Yeah, what did he say? It's not soccer, it's not ballet, it's football. That's what he told us the other day.
It's not a contact sport, it's a collision sport, and he understands that.
And I think he's safest out of the pocket as a runner. Those are the hits that he can control because he can see guys coming. It's that spinal tap shot when you're in the pocket, when it's a blind side, that really hurts guys.
Their best offensive drive was when Cam Newton was running the football. Leon Washington back. Last 3 drives have ended in turnovers for Seattle. Josh Thomas with a special teams play. A 53-yard punt and no return. The Seahawks trailing in this game. They have the football. Tim Ryan, Christina Bink, and Chris Myers. Hope you're enjoying the NFL on Fox from Carolina. Cam Newton's Panthers have the lead. The only touchdown in this game, a defensive score. Captain Myers with an interception return. On 1st and 10, Seahawks. Marshawn Lynch with the carry, his 11th of the game. And Tim, 3 takeaways for Carolina on the first 3 possessions of this half against the Seahawks.
And it's absolutely what they needed, only getting a couple of field goals, that being Seattle in the first half. You know, they had 3 takeaways coming into the game. Look at the fill by Thomas Davis in the collision with Michael Robinson. I mean, that's how you do it, Chris. If you're going to take on a lead fullback that was leading the block in the run game, you do it on their side of the line of scrimmage. Couldn't be any better for Thomas Davis.
Green 80! Green 80!
Sidney Rice, who has an important first down in terms of field position shifting here as Luke Kuechly kept him from going further. But Seattle gets a fresh set of downs. Kuechly off that last tackle. The rookie moving to the middle today has been busy.
Yeah, he's out there calling the defenses. He's getting the call into his headset and his communication device. You can see he's the quarterback of the linebackers making all the checks. He's done good coming on pressure. And then there's the interception.
From the 24-yard line. Hand off to Lynch. And Russell Wilson, in his 5th NFL game, has hit the high point in terms of passing yardage, 171 so far. 160 had been the number, but of course he has the 2 interceptions.
Much the patience here by Kuechly. He's going to stack to the right and then come back to the left and get himself in on the tackle. See that? And that's what he said. He loves being back in the middle as a middle linebacker, a flow player, sideline to sideline player, both sides of the ball versus being outside linebacker, as he said. You really got to be a guy that just sets the edge.
As Marshawn Lynch carries, tries to get outside, and has a Seattle first down. Up near the 40-yard line, there's a flag that came in.
I think they're going to get Obamanu on a hold out there on Josh Norman. And Pete Carroll is not happy about it.
Holding, offense number 87. 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
So there's the hold on Obamanu. And then they're going to get that most every time, Chris. If it's the guy who frees up the runner out on the edge, and that's what happened there with Obamanu on the corner, Josh Norman, the officials aren't going to miss it very much.
Another Seahawk penalty. 2nd and 10. Wiped out a first down gain. Russell Wilson to throw it. Incomplete. Doug Baldwin the target. Let's get a game break. Check in with Kurt Menefee. Hey, Kurt.
Hey, Chris. Well, tell me if you've seen this before. The Bears defense scoring a touchdown. Charles Tillman picks off Blaine Gabbert. 36 yards later, it's good for 7 and a 13-3 lead. 4th touchdown in the last 3 games for this Bears team. Chris and Tim?
Thanks, Kurt. And it's defense here on display. A chance for the Panthers on 3rd and 10 for their defense to shine once again. That is complete to Robert Turbin, but stopped short of the 30-yard line by Kuechly. Luke Kuechly is everywhere today.
That's all he did at Boston College as a guy that started right out of high school. He had over 500 tackles in college. Think about that number.
We enjoyed the opportunity to chat with him. Seemed eloquent for a first-year player in the NFL. And now Captain Munnerlyn, who has had the game-changing play on defense to return the punt. Has it, and the sideline, he's working it. Out of bounds up at the 30-yard line. A 55-yard punt. Pete Carroll's team is behind, and the Panthers have the football. Get ready for the biggest sports month of the year, Foxtoberfest. College football next Saturday, a doubleheader, UCLA and Utah and USC Washington. And then our America's Game of the Week Sunday, the NFL on Fox. Some will see the Cowboys and Ravens or the Giants and 49ers. And Game 1 of the NLCS, Foxtoberfest, a sports month, October to remember.
What did he?
On 1st and 10 from the 30, Cam Newton pitches to D'Angelo Williams, who loses the football, and the Seahawks smothering it. They have possession. Brandon Browner was back there making the play after the pitch. Seattle turned it over 3 straight possessions. This is the first Carolina turnover in this game.
What a Pro Bowl play from Brandon Browner. And I can't tell you how difficult that is as a defender, both trying to play the quarterback and the running back in terms of the pitch. I mean, he is squeezed right here. What's he going to do? He holds on Cam Newton long enough, forces Cam to pitch it.
He stole it,
and then just uses those long arms and that long length and goes and grabs it and rips the ball away from D'Angelo Williams. That's an incredible play.
And it sets up the Seahawks at the 27-yard line of Carolina. A great opportunity. That is a true takeaway by the Seattle defense. Marshawn Lynch has room inside the 20-yard line near a Seattle first down. Brandon Browner, who's been active today on Steve Smith, along with Richard Sherman.
Well, that ball that's a bigger play if this guy right here, Luke Kuechly, does not have the athleticism to stay on his feet. Look at this. McQuiston tries to chop him down. He gets over the top and is able to get over there and tackle Lynch for about a 9-yard gain. That could have been a touchdown.
Turnover by D'Angelo Williams. 2nd and 1. This is Marshawn Lynch. First down, Seahawks. Inside the 15-yard line. 1:50 to go here in the 3rd quarter. And the only touchdown, a defensive score. Otherwise, field goal.
And what a massive, massive play by Brandon Browner. Not only to get his team the ball back, but to swing momentum. I mean, all the momentum and the emotion was here with the Carolina Panthers in this 3rd quarter. After forcing 3 turnovers, Browner says, I'm putting a stop to that. Gets one back himself.
First down for the 15. Into the pile goes Lynch. You talk about the necessity for the 1-3 Panthers to win. Seattle at 2-2 in that all of a sudden outstanding NFC West with the Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers, and the improved Rams at 3-2 who won on Thursday night.
And when you talk about defense, I'll call it the NFC best. I mean, there is some incredible defense going on out west. And just to finish your story, New England at San Francisco at Detroit, Minnesota, the next 4 games for the Seahawks.
Russell Wilson has it. It'll be 3rd down.
You know, I almost get the sense in watching Russell Wilson in the red zone, and they've been so bad in the red zone, they're the worst in the league, is you always hear coaches talk about, ball security, ball security, ball security. We can't have turnovers. They all magnify that thought process down in the red zone. Russell Wilson just looks like he's afraid to make the mistake, Chris, when they get down inside the 20. He doesn't let it go.
They're at the 13 on 3rd and 8. Seahawks call a timeout. Seattle 5 for 10 on third down, but in the red zone, they've been an awful team. And you wonder in this game if they'll get another opportunity. This is a true tipping point in a 10-6 game.
And as a quarterback down in the red zone, you got to be a quick decision maker. Everything happens faster. So you got to process the information. You got to make your decision. And at times you just got to take risks. And they did have some open players here. Here's Golden Tate. He's got the crossing route. And I'm telling you, I watched Russell Wilson look at him. And he saw defenders on each side of him. And he said, I'm not even going to take a chance. Look at the great quarterbacks in this game. They're not afraid to make mistakes down there. They're just going to slam that football in there and take their chances. Rely on their own confidence.
13th trip into the red zone this season. Only 3 touchdowns so far. 3 wide receivers. Golden Tate has it, and a touchdown, Seattle.
Russell Wilson's pass complete to Golden Tate for the touchdown.
13-yard touchdown pass, and it all comes after the Angelo Williams takeaway from Brendan Browning.
And that's what I told you about processing information quickly and making your mind up. Russell Wilson is going to slam this slant route in here so fast to Golden Tate. And then how about wrapping up if you're Thomas Davis? You're the linebacker coming to tackle a receiver. How about using your arms and wrapping up? He tries a kill shot. Tate just spins off of it.
Panthers have the most missed tackles in the NFL this year, and they missed a big one there that allowed Tate to get into the end zone. His 3rd touchdown of the season, and Seattle, who led the entire first half, now has a 3-point lead.
And Russell Wilson, there's already a little confusion going on here, but he's not even worried about that. He is going to watch the in cut. He's going to look left. He's going to hold the safety. He's going to look right back and see the in cut, the slant route from Golden Tate. And that ball has some velocity on it.
And you showed Golden Tate on the previous play on the other side of the field, crossing, saying I'm open. I'm sure he went back to the huddle and got that information to Russell Wilson. So a career high, only his 5th NFL game, and Russell Wilson 198 yards passing. The touchdown toss, his 5th of the year. Of course, he has the 2 interceptions.
Ron Rivera should use that play right there to show his guys how to not tackle. I mean, he has emphasized it all week, all year. He said it's been their biggest problem. I didn't see one guy use his hands to wrap up the offensive player there.
And Pete Carroll, one of the themes for his team this week, on the road, we need takeaways. Of course, they haven't won on the road this year, 0 for 2. And said we need takeaways on the road, and we need to produce a road victory. Right now, with 35 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter, they're back on top. This is Kealoha Polaris, who will say aloha to a return. Carolina taking it at the 20-yard line. Fox tonight, the scariest night of the year comes early. Animation domination. It's hilarious. Halloween. What would the holiday be without a new Simpsons Treehouse of Horror? It all starts tonight at 7:30. That's 6:30 Central on Fox. That's pretty scary, right? Look at the old helmets.
Yeah, there we go.
You didn't wear those when you played, did you?
I played so long ago, I used to fold mine up, put it in my back pocket.
And a future Panthers star right there, enjoying an exciting game.
Never mind, that was my dad's line.
In the
Sorry
3rd
about
quarter. A good line from your father. The turnover last time allowed Seattle to punch it in. Cam Newton, incomplete for D'Angelo Williams.
Is he mad at Greg Olsen? I mean, is he mad at Greg Olsen? He's not even looking his way.
Jeff Chudzinski, the offensive coordinator, maybe you should dial him up at a break, because Olsen was the leading receiver. We keep repeating that coming into this game. They have not targeted him once.
And when you think about all the man coverage on the perimeter, because what Pete Carroll loves to do is he loves to load up the box and play man out on the edges, which means the tight end's going to get a lot of zone looks. I mean, he has been in that 7 to 11-yard area, both on the hash marks and to the numbers all day long, and Cam Newton just hasn't looked his way.
Cam Newton 5 out of 20 in the passing department. So here they run to Jonathan Stewart, and that'll bring us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Turnovers have been the story. A defensive score by Captain Munnerlyn, but a touchdown pass from Russell Wilson to Golden Tate has Seattle on top 13-10.
Yeah, and going here into the fourth quarter, Cam Newton's going to have to use his legs. I mean, he has been hit on almost every time he has tried to throw the ball. He's only 5 of 20. You remember before the half when they got momentum, it was Cam making plays with his legs and his lower body.
He is the leading rusher for the Panthers after 3 quarters. Seattle leads by 3. You're watching the NFL on Fox. Rookie Russell Wilson, his touchdown pass in the closing moments of the third quarter have given the Seahawks a 3-point lead over Ron Rivera. Captain Munnerlyn with an interception return for a touchdown, and Brandon Browner with a takeaway. And Seattle leads 13-10 to begin the fourth quarter. Tim Ryan, Christina Pink on the field. I'm Chris Myers. Glad you're with us on 3rd and 8. Open is Jonathan Stewart, and he gets the first down. The ball comes out. And if it's inside the 30, he would have lost the first down. And he did not get the first down after fumbling and going back to get the football. Another major mistake.
Another huge play by Richard Sherman in this defense. We saw Brandon Browner do it on the last drive. At 6'4", Browner uses those long arms and rips it out. Now watch Sherman at 6'3" with those long arms. He just tears it away from Jonathan Stewart.
And if you are out of bounds, can you be the first player to come back in and recover? Usually you would have to reestablish both feet. Now it would have to be challenged because it's not an automatic turnover, so there's no change of possession. Too late now. No challenge. Leon Washington back to take the punt and waving everybody off. And a weak punt. 35-yard line. Seattle with the lead will have excellent field position. A 35-yard boot. Seattle's swarming defense suffocating Carolina. Seahawks lead by 3.
This game on Fox is sponsored by State Farm. Get to a better state with a discount double check. By Pizza Hut. Make it great. And by the new film Sinister. Once you see him, nothing can save you. In theaters Friday.
NASCAR's Hall of Fame just down the street from where the Panthers are playing here. And after a wreck at Talladega, Matt Kenseth winning. But the standings in the chase for the championship with 6 races to go. Brad Keselowski, the leader, on top. On first down from the 35. Marshawn Lynch with plenty of running room. And an excellent tackle by Luke Kuechly again, or he would have had a first down.
I'll tell you, the inside run, and we haven't seen a lot of it from Seattle today, but it's all started with being able to block with your offensive guards. And watch James Carpenter here on Sione Fua. I mean, you can't do it any better. You can't do it any better. I mean, that is a hook block that immediately opens up the running lane for Marshawn Lynch. Well done.
Pretty good job by the Carolina defense against the NFL's leading rusher coming in. Lynch with 60 yards on 16 carries. 82 for a first down, and Lynch will get that easily. He's in Carolina territory. And the Seahawks protecting a 3-point lead.
Here's what I don't like about what they call the mug look, Chris, and that's sneaking linebackers, your inside linebackers up into the line of scrimmage. Any of the off-tackle run game is hard for those guys to get to. And here's Kuechly up in here. If the ball goes outside, how can he ever get over the top in pursuit? Watch what happens to him. He gets hammered down right there. Get a couple of other guys blocked, and Kuechly can't get in on the play.
Charles Johnson limped off the field, the best pass rusher. As Marshawn Lynch splits out as a wide receiver at the bottom of your screen. And Russell Wilson down the middle, open is the tight end for a first down. And Zach Miller, we've seen that play before. A fresh set of downs for the Seahawks and in field goal range.
And that's a busted coverage. Zach Miller is going to get vertical right down the seam. But Captain Munnerlyn, 41, and Thomas Davis, number 58, are not on the same page. You see them both look at each other and be like, what happened? That was a busted coverage.
Russell Wilson overcomes the interception. He's over 220 yards passing now. And first and 10. The pitch to Robert Turbin. Hit hard. Thomas Davis and Nakamura involved on the tackle.
I told you in the open of the game here that I thought this could be a breakout game for Russell Wilson in terms of, you know, throwing attempts and yards. And he's got a career high in yards, and he's 19 of 24. And I got to give Darrell Bevell credit, the offensive coordinator you see right there. He has called a very good game for Russell Wilson, both with the short throws and the vertical throws down the seam that have enhanced his talents.
Robert Turner. Luke Kuechly with another big play. It'll be third down. John Beeson trying to fire up his rookie teammate in that defense.
Chris, you know, sometimes you can be athletic, you can be big, you can be fast, but sometimes you just need to have a nose for the ball. Watch Luke Kuechly come flying in right here. He's like looking past the blockers, does not give anybody a chance to block him, and gets a big tackle for loss.
Charles Johnson back in on defense on 3rd and 10. It'll be 4th down. There's a flag that comes in late.
I think you got an offensive lineman, 2 offensive linemen about 10 yards down the field.
And it will be that signal.
Ineligible man downfield. Offense number 60. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Let's watch the coverage over here to the right side of the offense for Seattle. Nobody open, and then they lock up man coverage on the backside on Golden Tate. Interesting how James Carpenter and Unger were both 10-15 yards down the field.
Stephen House going to try a 44-yard field goal that would give Seattle the 6-point lead. John Ryan, the punter, is the holder. And Seattle takes a 16-10 advantage. Hauschka is 3 for 3. In the 4th quarter, a tightly played game by 2 teams working their way upward. Ron Rivera and his Panthers have let too many second-half leads slip away. They held the advantage after the Captain Munnerlyn interception return for a touchdown. But a turnover, and Seattle has added to the lead. Now 16-10 here in the 4th. No return for Pilares, so Cam Newton, who's had a 4th quarter comeback in his career, will lead the offense from the 20-yard line. We're in Carolina. The Seahawks are up by 6.
Today's game is sponsored by Ram Trucks. Guts, glory, Ram.
From the 20-yard line, trailing by 6, Cam Newton will have to rally his team, something he's done only once in the 20 NFL games in his career. Not used to losing, says he takes it personally. And Greg Olsen at the bottom of your screen. Will they go in that direction? No, they run with D'Angelo Williams as Leroy Hill makes the stop. Cam Newton just 6 of 21 throwing it. He's run the ball better. He's their leading rusher.
Yeah, he's running for almost 8 yards per rush, but I think a good illustration of the speed by the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, they have rocked him on almost every throw, and when he has tried to escape, they've been able to run him down. Bunch of batted balls, which also surprises me. Cam's every bit of 6'6" and has that overhand throwing motion. Seattle's got their hands up and batted some balls down for that.
Mike Tolbert, the fullback, comes from the backfield. They fake, actually give to Tolbert, who powers it to the 25-yard line where it'll be 3rd down. Interesting play selection here with 9.5 minutes to go. That's what the fans are wondering. And still no pass attempt to Greg Olsen, the tight end.
And that's where they need to go, because it has not worked out on the perimeter, on the sideline, because of those corners for the Seattle Seahawks. I talked about it in the open. It's the land of the Giants. And they are going to stick on guys. They're going to cover guys. And then when the ball does come that way, they're going to rip it out. And both of them have knocked the ball out, both Brandon Browner and Richard Sherman.
Break!
On 3rd and 5, That's a catch for LaFell, and it looked like he slipped across for the first down. His second catch of the game. He's John at that sideline.
John with the wrong guy, Big Red Bryant.
Red Bryant is 330 pounds, 6'4".
Got a little swagger working too. Look at him up on his toes.
So the drive is alive for Cam Newton here in the fourth quarter with D'Angelo Williams the back. Set to throw, middle of the field. And there he is. Greg Olsen. Hello, anybody.
Maybe they made up.
A 24-yard gain.
And Cam actually sees him late because Greg Olsen flashes open vertically so fast. He spins his head and he's just waiting and waiting. Cam Newton finally sees him and throws a nice football.
Two important completions on this drive for Cam Newton. And now from the 45 of Seattle.
Hey, 5 down.
180.
He's got time. Complete. Steve Smith has a Carolina first down.
I think anytime he lines up over on Brandon Browner plays off coverage because he's worried about the double move. Here's the key, though, the pass protection up in front of Cam Newton. Four-man rush, he gets time, threads the needle over the middle of the field.
Cam Newton called Steve Smith. He said he's my MVP, both on and off the field. I've been over to have dinner with him and the family. He's helped me through some tough going early in my career. After a gain of 14, he throws it back the other way. Wide open is Greg Olsen. He's inside the 20.
Maybe he's just been playing decoy all game, and Cam Newton's been setting us all up for Greg Olsen. Just a little tight end throwback. Olsen's going to come out this way. Watch all the defenders go this way, in particular K.J. Wright, who's supposed to be the guy in coverage.
2 catches on this drive for Greg Olsen, and now from the 18 of Seattle.
And this is an area now down in the red zone where Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers have been the best in football.
Jonathan Stewart checks in at running back.
Be ready for him to run.
And there's a whistle. Flag.
False start. Offense number 11. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And this is where Cam Newton just kills you down near the red zone. 20-yard line and in as a runner.
Brandon LaFell called for the penalty there. So Ron Rivera has Cam Newton, who has run it 5 times for 38 yards. He's 10 out of 25 and now over 100 yards. Ron Rivera and Cam Newton forever linked with this Carolina franchise. Now 1st and 15.
Here's the matchup. Steve Smith working out of the slot here on Marcus Trufant.
Cam has it. A high pass for LaFell, who comes down with it.
Boy, what a terrific throw, but it was all set up on the play action. I want you to watch the middle linebacker step up. And then the ball goes right over his head to Brandon LaFell.
Now you know why the penalty was called on him. He was excited. A gain of 17 on 1st and goal from the 6. Jonathan Stewart, the back, splits into the slot.
Watch the runner and Cam Newton. There he goes.
Is there a place for him to go? Cam Newton run out of bounds. And great pursuit from that Seattle defense. They were ready for it. From the 3-yard line, 2nd and goal.
Pretty good picture of that Seattle speed right there.
Greg Olsen splits all the way out to the left.
Don't be surprised if Cam Newton runs it again.
D'Angelo Williams the back, and we have a timeout.
Charge timeout, Carolina.
The Panthers use a timeout, each team with 2 timeouts remaining. Panthers are knocking on the door. Panthers coming into the weekend, the #1 team scoring touchdowns in the red zone in the NFL. Cam Newton 17 touchdown runs in this is 21st NFL game.
Yellow 50.
D'Angelo Williams is smothered. Chris Clemens led the charge. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Nobody blocked him. Nobody blocks Chris Clemens.
An unusual call in that situation.
Here's Clemens here out at right defensive end, and he goes right inside. KJ Wright goes to the outside. Silatolu blocks down. Jordan Gross blocks out, and nobody blocked Chris Clemens.
D'Angelo Williams, who came in with a career average of 5 yards a carry, is averaging 1.5 in this game. A loss of 3 from the 6. It's 3rd down. Cam Newton, end zone pass, touchdown. Lewis Murphy kicked from the goal line. And now you got a decision to make.
Remember what I said about the land of the Giants? Here's one of the Giants, Brandon Browner, out here keeping Lewis Murphy out of the end zone. Look at this tackle.
I thought it was automatic at that point.
Yeah. Browner, as big and as strong as he is, up top, Trufant on the bottom. Murphy doesn't get in.
And in a 6-point game, on 4th and goal from inside the 1, they were questioning his call last week when he had the punter go for it. Ron Rivera's going for it.
I promise you, everyone in Seattle's thinking Cam Newton run here.
Cam Newton has it. Has nowhere to go. Threw it into the dirt. Ben Hartsock was open.
That is an awful throw from Cam Newton. Hartsock was sitting in the middle of the end zone. Cam Newton rolling to his right. Hartsock was sitting there going, take a picture of me, man. Here's a big snapshot. I'm sitting right here for you. Here's 84. You're going to see him get out here. And this ball just came out of Cam Newton's hand. Funny. Just dips right down.
Seattle's defense holds from the 1-yard line.
Think about the 2 plays they just made on the goal line. The big one on the Cam Newton run, where the speed caught up to Cam Newton, and then Brandon Browner right there in Trufant pushing Lewis Murphy back to the 1-yard line.
An 11-play, 79-yard drive. What a great stop on 3rd down.
Wow.
Which kept him out of the end zone.
False start. Offense number 77. 5-yard, half the distance to the goal. 1st down.
That's noisy there, but you don't lose a whole lot of yardage on the penalty.
No, and a lot of offenses try to get defenses, and they end up getting themselves there with a false start. But try to get them with a hard count down there to buy themselves a little relief, because the risk of picking up 5 yards is, or the reward of getting 5 yards is worth the risk of going back a half a yard.
Russell Wilson carries for breathing room. What a defensive stand by the Seattle Seahawks after Cam Newton finally connecting with Greg Olsen, marching down inside the 1. But when it came time for Cam to get into the end zone, responsible for 42 touchdowns already, and this is 21st game. That's running and throwing, but nothing this time.
Seattle's got such a great mix defensively of size and speed. We've seen that on full display today against Cam Newton. How many people run him down? They've done it 3 or 4 times.
Marshawn Lynch. It'll be 3rd down. They need to get out to the 11 to get a 1st down. Thomas Davis and Luke Kuechly have been all over the field as the Panthers will use a timeout, so they will have 1 remaining. Trailing by 6, but they've got the Seahawks backed up. We'll have the 2-minute warning. Seattle has 2 timeouts as well. Oktoberfest continues, our month-long extravaganza of epic matchups. Exclusive coverage of Game 1 of the NLCS, the 2 best teams in the National League to see who advances to the World Series. You'll see it all on Fox. Legends are born in October, and our coverage of Game 1 begins next Sunday at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. It's all part of Oktoberfest. Defensive coordinator Sean McDermott. Darrell Bevel, the offensive coordinator, on a game-shaping 3rd down and 7 from the 4. Marshawn Lynch carries and fights. What a gain for a first down. Somehow out to the 15-yard line.
Somehow it's called what he does every week. That balance with that wide base, not even defensive linemen that square him up like Charles Johnson, Chris, can get him down. I just want you to focus on the feet of Marshawn Lynch as he's going to get contacted here by Charles Johnson. You see the wide base? I mean, you just can't knock him off his feet.
An 11-yard gain. And part of that is Marshawn Lynch, but as Ron Rivera told us, the worst tackling team in the NFL. That's been our nemesis, and that may have been the game slipping through the hands of the Panthers. As Lynch carries again. Carolina with 1 timeout. We're going to go to the 2-minute warning unless they decide to use a timeout here. They'll let it run to the 2-minute mark. Seattle has the football and a 6-point lead here in Carolina. The Seahawks with a 6-point lead. They have the football. 2nd down. Carolina has just 1 timeout remaining.
Yeah, and Seattle is just going to keep the ball on the ground here, I would think. Chew that clock and force Carolina to use that last timeout.
Marshawn Lynch is hit hard, but brought down inside the 15 by Charles Johnson and Greg Hardy, so it'll be 3rd down, and we'll see if they use the timeout here, and they do. Carolina, their last timeout. And Seattle will be facing a 3rd down.
And a 3rd and long. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just ran it again and then played the field position game, being up by 6.
And you've got Russell Wilson, who can run with the football as well.
And their defense has been really good, because I'm telling you, you throw a ball and it's incomplete and then you punt, you leave a lot of time on the clock for the Carolina Panthers.
Ron Rivera's team looking at a 1-4 record if they don't pull this out going into the bye. Seattle trying to go to 3-2.
This is going to be an interesting call here by Darrell Bevel. Do you trust your rookie quarterback or do you trust your defense?
Well, given the history of Seattle's defense, Wilson has suffered 2 interceptions already in this game. From the 15-yard line, they need to get all the way out to the 25 for a first down to seal this win.
And they've got a running formation set up. 2 running backs and a tight end in tight.
Russell Wilson has the football, and they're ready for it. Captain Munnerlyn on the spot. It'll be 4th down.
The beauty of it, though, for Seattle is that clock's still ticking.
And they'll let it tick.
And I know the fans are sitting at home going, no, not a pass. Called run the whole way for Russell Wilson. Very, very good play by Captain Munnerlyn out on the outside.
And there is Captain Munnerlyn. John Ryan will boot it to him. Standing inside his 25. Nearing the 1-minute mark.
Take the timeout.
2nd charge timeout, Seattle. 30-second timeout.
Seahawks have 1 timeout remaining. Again, worth repeating, the Panthers are out of timeouts. And the Seahawk defense on 4th and 1 took a stand when the Panthers got down close. Looked like Murphy was in. And then this on 4th down. Cam Newton won 4th quarter comeback win.
To me, that whole drive just identifies what Seattle is on defense. I mean, they are big, they are strong, they are aggressive, and they can flat out run in terms of the collective team speed on defense.
You'll get the ball back with a minute or so to go if you're Carolina without any timeouts. High snap!
Panthers take a safety.
He's going to take 2.
That's really smart by the kicker because it's still now a 4-point game.
But they didn't have the rush on. It looked like he would have had time to step a little and kick that. Now you got the free kick going to the Panthers.
Well, let's see where this snap is. It's definitely a high snap. Boy, it looks like they may have had that safety called the whole way. That may have been a planned safety from the sideline from the coaching staff to John Ryan.
He averages 44 yards a punt.
No, that's really smart. Now you get a free kick with no rush and you chewed some more time off the clock. That's brilliant. Because a field goal can't beat you anyway.
But if you're designing this, why the high snap? That's risky. It could be fumble. Just give it to the punter there. Snap
yeah,
it.
But you know what? I want you to look outside and look at the gunner on the outside. They didn't even rush down the field. That was a planned play.
But it's risky snapping it high.
Yeah, but if you snap it high and it goes out of the back of the end zone, it's a safety anyway. Not a way to get after the snapper.
I'm not picking on the snapper. I'm just thinking Ryan could have been tackled on his way running back to the end zone. And then what do? And then you shorten the field for Carolina.
I'm going to tell you something Mike Ditka told me my rookie year. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Well, I know this, that Ron Rivera's team will have the football.
That was a heck of a call.
With 59 seconds left. A good boot. Hunter gets across the 31-yard line. 69 yards away. Mike Shula, who relays the signals from the offensive coordinator into the helmet of Cam Newton. 54 seconds and no timeouts.
And you got to get a touchdown, obviously, down by 4. Look for them to work the sidelines to get it out of bounds to stop that clock. Look for Seattle to defend the sidelines.
Incomplete. Intended for Jonathan Stewart. 49 seconds remain. It was probably a good thing he didn't catch it. No timeouts, again, worth repeating for the Panthers, who trailed the first half and on an interception return for a touchdown took the lead. Offensively, they've been in the end zone.
Yeah, and they've only had 3 sacks, which is a good number on Cam Newton, but they have been relentless in terms of their pressure and hits on him and affecting him. There it is again.
Ball's out. And Seattle has come up with another turnover. Bruce Irvin, the rookie, forced it. And Alan Branch, the big defensive tackle, came up with it. Seahawks' 4th sack of the game.
And I was just talking about it. And sack number 4, as you just said, but hits all over the place. And it's that guy, 51, Bruce Irvin, who is just going to keep fighting and reach up and rip that arm down. And it certainly did not look like Cam Newton's arm was moving forward when that ball came out. Nah, that's a fumble. That is a sack and a forced fumble by the rookie, Bruce Irvin.
And the Seahawks can run out the clock. And Pete Carroll, who looks like a rookie himself with his rookie quarterback, Russell Wilson.
Let's do the round table hug.
Who was questioned. Comes up with the victory in a defensive struggle here in Charlotte. It's been a Mike Burks production. Our director, Mike Frank. Associate Director Brian Biederman, Broadcast Associate Alex Strand up here in the booth. Emmett McGuire and James Petralka helping us out. The studio show produced by Bill Richards, directed by Bob Levy. The Seahawks win a road game in the East. Pete Carroll's team goes to 3-2, and the Panthers will stumble into their off week. We will have more from Charlotte, North Carolina, where the Seahawks win 16-12.